Welcome back. We're so glad to have you back with us. You know, during the break, I was just talking to Dan Peterson, and I just let him know, even though we said something about some of the things that he has done, one of the things we haven't done is let you know who he is and some of his background. There's a lot to this young man that a lot of you don't know, and things that he's done for his country, and I already told you, Chief Warrant Officer 5, and they don't have many of those in the Army. So Dan, tell us something about your background.
All right. Well, I was, unlike most people, probably I was drafted in 1968. I was going to college and took a summer off, and a couple of friends I had that worked for the draft board told me, if you take the summer off, your number is going to come up. So I said, well, I got to take the summer off, so what's the option? They said, just volunteer for the draft. So I did. I went through basic at Fort Knox, and we were within 10 days of graduation. Everybody had orders to Fort Polk to go to infantry school, and I thought I'd be one of those last three. But my platoon sergeant said, you got two options. You go to intelligence school or flight school. And I said, well, I'm afraid of heights and I've never flown, so let me look at intelligence school. So I went and did an interview with this captain, and he said, well, we're going to send you to Monterey, California to learn another language. And I said, well, that's not going to work because I haven't a hard enough time with English. So obviously the second choice was flight school, and right after basic, I went to Fort Walters, Texas, to the Army Aviation's helicopter training center at that time.
Okay.
Went from there to Fort Rucker, Alabama, and finished phase 2, and then obviously on to Vietnam. So in 1960, 68, 69, 70, I served tours in Vietnam flying helicopters.
Army aviator.
Out of Benoit with the 190th Assault Helicopter and the 118th. And the infantry guys called us God's lunatics. Because they couldn't figure out how we could hover in hot LZs with sheet metal and plexiglass windows and just do what we did. So, and then my career ended up with almost 25 years. I served in Grenada, and then served with the 101st flying the Army's Apache helicopter in Desert Storm.
Okay.
And then Desert Storm, I was a master warrant, which was a prelude to W5. I came back, went through the what was called the Master Warrant Training Program, graduated from that, and then went first 200 W5s in the Army. And now that's grown. It's been 20 years since that, so there's quite a few W5s around now.
Now, what's the difference between W4 and W5? Because when I was on active duty, we only had up to W4.
The two reasons: one was they were having a hard time retaining senior warrants.
Okay.
I made W4 at 15 years.
Okay.
So if you figure you're going to stay to 30, that means 15 years with nothing other than an annual pay raise.
Okay.
There's not a lot of motivation. Everybody needs that little carrot in front of them to keep them going. So they created the master warrant, and then on to W5. The difference was W5 was more in line with the Navy's LDO, their limited duty officers.
Okay.
So we were actually commissioned. So we had command and UCMJ authority, unlike warrants who were appointed.
Gotcha. Okay.
So a little bit different. So we actually do have W5s commanding now. So a little different.
And when I learned more about W5s, and that was the thing that impressed me, was the fact that they had command authority.
Yeah.
And I thought that was quite a carrot to hold out there and say, yeah, okay, W4s, do you want to go on?
Yeah.
So that's great. Okay, what'd you do after this?
Well, I went to night school for 11 years on active duty. My first degree, I had an associate's degree in aviation operations management, mainly because of being a pilot.
Okay.
I went on and did my bachelor's in business administration. I entered the master program, but found out I needed some more accounting classes. So I went back and got a second degree in accounting.
Okay.
And then on to my master's degree. And then when I got out of the service in '92, I moved originally to Oceanside, Carlsbad, La Costa, doing investment accounting, and then the housing market crashed, so I moved to Vegas. That's been 22 years now. So for that 22 years, I was in healthcare as an administrator, running clinics in primary care, pediatrics, OB. I oversaw a hospitalist group, and then my last 7 years was running perinatology, or what we call fetal medicine, high-risk pregnancies.
Oh, quite an interesting career.
And now it's full-time helping veterans.
Full-time helping veterans, and that's look like that's what I do.
Yeah.
I have so much fun in Pahrump and around Nye County, as well as in Las Vegas. And the main thing I do is work for veterans. It's something that I appreciate because I believe in giving back, and that's what we do. So we have Dan Peterson here today, and there's so much more we want to talk about with the Military Order of the Purple Heart. And Dan, since you didn't mention anything in Vietnam about receiving the Purple Heart, so because you're the commander, that means you have received the Purple Heart. Do you want to go ahead and touch on that for just a minute?
Well, if everybody who served in Vietnam knows that helicopter pilots' longevity was not very high.
Yes.
You hear different numbers, but normally under 65 days. Something you were going to either get shot or killed. My total time, I've been shot down 9 times.
Okay.
On this particular one occasion, August 11th, 1970, my aircraft got hit by a small arms fire. I took rounds in my chest, my right arm, my lower arm, my leg. Unfortunately, when you're a pilot, you still have to fly. You can't just say, I'm going to fall down on the ground and hope somebody picks me up. So we continued to do a reconnaissance, and then we got hit with RPGs. Aircraft caught on fire. We crashed and burned, and took about 2 hours to get us out of there because of the enemy trying to get to us.
Yep.
And I had a good crew, and everybody survived. And we're all still close friends today.
And that's another thing about the military. Camaraderie, friendship. I think every veteran can go back and talk about some of the friends that we had on active duty that are still friends today.
Yep.
So, okay. We want to move on from that. I wanted to go ahead and cover that just so you know that, hey, we're talking about a hero here as well, somebody that did a lot for our troops, saving lives and so on. So thank you, Dan, for everything you've done.
Thank you.
Okay, so what else is going on that Chapter 730 is involved in?
Well, an upcoming event is next Tuesday, October 9th. There's a national foundation called Missing Warriors. In Nevada, it's called the Nevada Coalition.
Okay, I want to remind you, today is October 9th.
Is it?
Yes, today is October 9th.
Oh, I'm sorry, it is October 9th.
So, okay.
Sorry. The coalition started researching the various funeral homes and different entities that could house bodies. And at that time, they located 35 veterans who had bodies that had never been claimed. The oldest one went back to 1974.
1974?
1974.
Wow. Okay.
I wasn't even in Vietnam in '74. So that obviously was, we had World War I people, World War II, Korea, a few Vietnam, not very many. So the coalition facilitated a 35 veteran memorial. So we transferred the bodies from in urns, they were all cremated, into a ceremony at the Southern Nevada Veterans Cemetery.
Okay, in Boulder City.
In Boulder City, we paid full honors to all them and turned all them into a wall. That process has gone on, and today we will be burying 30 or 15 more that have been identified.
Okay.
And I don't have the dates on how far back those are, but this will continue because they feel there's hundreds more out there that have been unclaimed.
When you say unclaimed, are you saying that these are veterans who've died and families have not come.
It's usually one or two things. Is when a veteran dies, obviously the VA has access to their paperwork and stuff, so they try to find the families of those veterans. Sometimes there just isn't any family, or there's not records of family. Maybe he was a young man who got out, wasn't married, parents are deceased.
Okay.
You know, and some of them, the family doesn't want to claim the body.
Oh.
At that time, you know, the VA, if they can identify it, the VA will pay for all the services and everything. Okay. And that's normal process. It's just a shame that people were sitting around unclaimed for that many years.
You know, I've noticed the messages that come in from you when you talk about the numbers of people that you're going to have the ceremony for. And you list the services, what branch of service they were in, and so on. And so, well, it's not only Military Order of the Purple Heart. I know it's the Disabled American Veterans, probably the VFW, and all the other veteran organizations get together and work together to make this happen.
Yeah, the ceremony there is each branch brings their flag into the chapel, and then a representative from each branch of the service reads honor to that veteran's whatever branch, and then we go out and pay our final respects to them.
Okay.
Now that's every Thursday.
Every Thursday, and we look at that. When you just think about the fact that they're doing this every Thursday, now every now and then I'll get a message from Dan saying there are no internments today or no internments on Thursday. But almost every other time, there are a list of names of people that they're going to recognize.
That's correct.
And these are all veterans, again, unclaimed, sometimes for many, many years.
The ceremonies on Thursdays are very well put together. They've done a good job over the years, and the one last Thursday we had, I think, 8, and one was going to have full honors. That means the DVA Honor Guard was going to do a full honor. So I got a feeling it was somebody that somebody knew. I have one of my veterans right now who's been deceased for over a year, and his body hasn't been claimed yet.
Wow. Okay. Now, if somebody's interested in coming out, observing one of these ceremonies, could they just contact you?
On the email that was on the initial info@purpleheart730.com, they can get a hold of me, and I'll be glad to share that with them.
Okay. And we'll keep your information on the screen so people can see exactly what they need to do. And again, we're running out of time for this next session, so come back and join us for session 3. A lot more to cover.